Do you consider yourself a feminist?
No.
Yes, in the way of like making sure women have equal rights. There's a lot of polarization and like radicalism within feminism, especially like seen recently, and like but yes, a feminist.
Okay, so you do consider yourself a feminist, and you want equality between, and is it just with rights?
Yes.
Okay. What about just like societally too?
Yeah.
You want equality societally?
Yes.
What about gender roles?
Gender roles, I value traditional gender roles personally.
We'll come back to that. Go ahead. Do you consider yourself a feminist?
I don't, but just definitely like, support the people who are feminists, or like equal rights for everyone, because that's what feminism is about. But
is it?
Word.
Yeah. Feminist
Not sure about that, but okay, go ahead.
No, I praise man. Feminism kills man. And it's so.
I don't consider myself a feminist, me personally, I don't feel that my rights were limited or something like that. But
Yes! That's awesome!
I'm not a feminist, but I think it's a lot of fake feminist is kind of...
Sure.
I don't know if there's a...
What about you?
term for that.
No.
Not a feminist?
No, not at all.
About you?
No, not at all.
Not a feminist. Okay, wow, okay. I was hoping we'd have a few more. You're a little outnumbered here, but so you consider yourself a feminist, but and in your pre-show notes and what you've just kind of talked about here, you said that you appreciate traditional values. Mm-hmm. So how do you consider yourself a feminist, how do you reconcile being a feminist, but also wanting to, it sounds like to me, holding men to their traditional gender roles? How do you reconcile that?
Not every woman lives the same lifestyle, so I think it's important that they have representation and, say in the matter of how they go about business, and that there's equality in the pay, equality in vote, equality in and also minimization of sexism, as well as harassment in the work industry. That's been a historical thing.
Okay, you said minimization of sexism. Mm-hmm. Don't you think it's a rather sexist position to believe that men should be providers?
I think that's like a traditional thing.
But isn't it to some degree, if you have a expectation on men by virtue of their gender to be providers, isn't that sexist? Why aren't women capable of equally contributing to a relationship or marriage?
Well, I think they can be, and
sure,
I would
absolutely
be contributing to my household as well, but I would just personally like to have a person that would like to provide for me. I don't really...
Well, that's traditional gender roles. How does that, again, how do you reconcile being a feminist but wanting traditional treatment from men, wanting men to pay for first dates, it's like, I hear from a lot of women who say, I want the guy to pay for the first date, but after that, I'm kind of okay, actually, if we maybe trade off paying on dates. But it sounds like for you want immediately, throughout the entire course of the relationship, you want a guy to provide for you. You want traditional treatment, and it sounds like you want him to pay your bills. You want an allowance. You want him to pay for your nails. If you go on trips, you want him to pay for it. Probably, if you guys were living together, would you want him to pay the entire rent?
Yeah.
Okay, you had something. Go ahead.
I'm going to use I feel statements here.
Speak with your chest. Go ahead.
I think what I'm hearing from you is that you'd prefer to keep the money that you have to yourself and have your husband provide for children, whatever. What I see in that is exactly what was brought up earlier about divorce, how men are in a worse position than women when it comes to things like that in marriage. I feel like that's kind of where that was set up, where the women are going to leave. They're going to have the money. They're going to have all this stuff, And even when you were just saying, yes, I would like someone to pay for everything, pay for my bills, pay for my house, it was like, oh, this, yeah, I would love that. But in all reality, that's you're very contradicting when you speak about these things. You know, you say that, you know, you're a feminist, women should have equal rights. If women are having equal rights, they would be paying 50% of a bill on a date. They would be paying a certain percentage. And I understand, you know, when I was in a relationship where I was splitting rent, I paid a little bit less rent because I made a couple dollars less than him. But it was still, in our thinking, it was still a 50-50 across the board. He would go buy dog food one week, the next week I would go buy dog food. So I just feel like that is a setup for the man where you can get out of it whenever you'd like, but the man's gonna be fucked over in the end. That's what I see from it.
Okay, I see what you're saying, and I don't mean to like come off as if I wouldn't be contributing anything financially. Like I'd be happy to also pay for like trips or like.
It's hold on, don't walk it back though. That's
no, but that's what I meant.
That's how it. Well, okay. I mean,
that's what I meant.
But you said in your past relationship, the 3-year relationship, even a man who is your own age, and you were young. So I mean, I don't think 18-year-olds are exactly like 18, especially 18-year-old men are not balling out.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I don't know if he came from a wealthy family or whatever, but you said he was paying $500 a month and you were living with him, so you're living rent-free. I know it was his parents' house, but for a period of the relationship. But $500 a month for like an 18, 19, 20-year-old, that's a lot of money. That's $18,000 over the course of the relationship. Yeah, I would argue like most 18, 19, 20-year-old men and women, like your earning potential is exactly the same. There's certainly, first off, I think the wage gap has been debunked, but there's no case where an 18-year-old man has more earning potential at 18 than an 18-year-old woman. I'd actually say it's the reverse. Women have at a young age, women have certain opportunities. I'm not even speaking necessarily sex work here. I'm speaking like there's certain job opportunities for women that I think actually can pay more in that age range. Okay, here, you said, but you want traditional values. So it sounds like you want the guy to be the provider. Let me ask, would you want to get married one day?
I would like to, yeah.
Do you want to have kids?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you get married, will you take your husband's last name?
Yes.
You'll take his last name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fair. That's traditional. You don't always hear that from feminists. Is your husband the head of the household?
Yes, but I do also, yeah, he'd be the head of the household. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Will you cook and clean?
Yes.
Okay, do you want to be a stay-at-home wife?
Well, yes, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, because I also have like my projects, I write poetry, so I'm an author, and then I have my art projects, and those are things that I can do from home. As well. Sure. As like I'm a caretaker, so I'm already nurturing like my grandmother on a daily basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right. How strongly do you consider yourself to be a feminist?
Well, that's the thing, is there's a lot of polarization, but I very much value like the independence of women and women having their own rights and all that. Women having their rights and to be heard.
But do you think women, say for example here in the United States, what is a right that I as a man have that you as a woman does not?
We've seen a lot of equality lately, and that's what I mean, like the polarization, like things. I guess just like that you have that women.
Well,
don't.
what you said that you're fighting for women's rights. What right do men have in this country that women do not?
I'm just supporting women's rights, I should say.
Which ones?
Like all of them, like making sure they stay intact.
How? But you already have.
Yeah. That's what I mean, like the polarization. Like, yes, I'm like a feminist, but I'm not polarized to where we're already like super limited. I think, like the Me Too movement, that's great. Like making sure women are heard and valued.
Okay.
Like, stuff like that.
But so, which right are you hoping to keep intact? Which right?
Which right? Voting right?
Do you think?
Like 2 episodes ago, there was a man saying women shouldn't vote, and I was like,
which I disagree with.
What?
Which I disagree with.
Yeah.
But I think it's. I mean, it's very, very, very unlikely that the 19th amendment is going to be repealed.
I'm aware.
That's not politically, what's the word for it? Tenable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're a Democrat, well, certainly Democrat. The Republicans are not going to repeal the 19th Amendment.
I'm aware. Another thing though is like feminism as in representation, like in politics.
Okay.
Would be nice. There's a lot of controversy with, like abortion and like the health maintenance of women and having accessibility to certain things. And I think that's something that women could.
Okay, so, but it's not clear to me if we're doing so typically when we're talking about equality with who? Equality with what? And so when we're talking about women's rights, we're comparing them to supposed men's rights. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about abortion, men don't have any reproductive rights at all. Mm-hmm. So it's not clear to me if that's really a woman's, like a gender inequality insofar as since men don't have any reproductive rights, it's not clear if there's inequality there.
Donated $100. Fan freaking tastic horse girl.
Oh, there you go.
Very well
got a
said.
Fan.
Poetic injustice: men have less rights than women, and that is an inescapable fact. Feminism has failed you. How can the patriarchy help you today?
I am the official representative of the patriarchy. Welcome.